Hello, everyone, and welcome along to the latest This is the Music Meets podcast. If you're new to the podcast, then please hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on any future episodes. And on today's episode, which is number 87, I'm delighted that Manchester's new boys, Crook on the Wall, are today's very special guests. And we're going to get the lowdown on the band's stunning debut single, Imperial Mind, to find out about their musical influences and much more. So, as I say, it's a warm welcome to Crook on the Wall to This is the Music Meets podcast. I'm joined by Cole and Elliot. Thanks very much for coming on, lads. How are you both doing this evening?
Absolutely great, mate. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, doing well. Thanks again.
No, brilliant. Well, thanks very much for coming on. It's obviously been a pretty sort of like whirlwind, I guess, a couple of days for you guys in terms of the new single drop in and obviously the reaction that you've had to that. Which we're gonna come on to in a minute. But just to sort of obviously, as you are, as I say, debut single. Just before we get into all of that sort of good stuff, can you just sort of introduce yourselves to the This Is the Music listeners? What you do in the band? Obviously, I know that you are a four-piece. There's obviously two missing. So if one of you would kindly say what the other two do as well, then that would be greatly appreciated.
They do nothing. It's fine. So I'm Elliot. I'm the lead guitarist. I do backing vocals, and I'm the lead songwriter. Cole over there, I'd like to say, is the songwriter, but
Yeah, I'm rhythm guitar as well, lead vocals. So we've got Ethan missing tonight, who's on drums, and then Adam as well, who's on bass. But yeah,
Brilliant.
well, me and Elliot are the main two ones writing the songs.
Yeah,
we're the heavy hitters.
Absolutely, couldn't agree with you more there on that one. So just before we come on to how Crook on the Wall started, I'd sort of quite like to go back to sort of the very beginning, really, kind of like back to sort of, can you remember like when you were growing up, like the sort of, your earliest musical influences, like inspirations? Was there a certain sort of band or maybe a song or an album or something that sort of, really captivated your imagination?
100%, mate. When I was younger, my dad was, well, I think as it is with all lads into music, my dad was pivotal in sort of my music instruction. I'd like to put it as my development in that. I remember being like 5, 6, and my dad would go. We had just finished football. And my dad bought the new Jake Bugg album on CD. It was his debut album, and he played that in the car. I still remember Two Fingers and Lightning Bolt. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
Remember Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Power of Love. I thought that was fantastic when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I used to keep the vampires from your door. I thought it was great. And Lana Del Rey. Lana Del Rey. I think my dad sort of introduced me to that kind of music. And as I grew up, I sort of developed my own taste. So I'm massively into sort of the 80s post-punk stuff. So my favourite bands right now, well, my favourite bands ever, Joy Division, The Smiths. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they're a band called the Chameleons.
Yeah.
They're absolutely brilliant, incredibly underrated. And obviously, me and Cole have a shared love of the Beatles. I'm sure Cole will tell you more about
that. Yeah, I guess like with me, I remember like my parents playing Wonderwall just when I was a kid, and I remember like hiding behind the sofa and then jumping up when the drums came in and like smashing some pots and pans and stuff. Like just when I was like that small. So yeah, that's probably like the earliest it is for me. But yeah, I still love Oasis. And they've been there since pretty much day one.
Yeah, sure. Obviously, big news. Obviously, we're recording this on Monday, so obviously Liam's just announced his definitely maybe arena tour. So yeah, hoping to get a ticket myself for that. So yeah, absolutely massive fan. So obviously, Crook in the Wall, you obviously started like last year, so 2022. Obviously with yourselves going out and about. So kind of like a couple of questions then, really. What like were those early days like in terms of, like, were you playing, obviously you went out and played live. So kind of like, where were you playing live? And sort of like looking at your sets, was it a mixture of, like all like originals, or was you doing covers? Was it a mixture? How did that work?
I won't lie to you, mate. It was dark days. we were 14 and we sat together in maths, and I used to just I used to just pretend I was really good at music to Cole and be like, yeah, I went busking and I made 40 quid. I did not go busking. I did not make 40 quid. But Cole, being gullible, sucker, he believed me. He was like, well, can you teach me how to go busking? And I was like, oh, all right. So we went to the music room in our school, picked up these horrendous, like £25 nylon stringed classical guitars.
I remember those days well.
I can't tell you, they were Cole. God, they're so bad.
Yeah,
That's what all the songs have been written on.
yeah.
We learned Beatles covers and indie covers, Oasis covers, and we were really into it for some reason. We thought we were really good, but we were horrendous. We used to go in and practice every day, 2 hours a day nearly. Yeah, before school, at break, during lunch at school, and neither of us could play guitar. I thought I could sing, I couldn't sing, and it sort of just went from there. We played around pubs. We played a gig at a place called the Roebuck. Big shout out. And then we played a place called the Thirsty Scholar in Manchester. It was, how do I put it? We did a song called Cigarette Daydream by Cage the Elephant.
Yeah.
And I'm strumming the guitar, and suddenly, oh God, I forgot the chords. I forgot the words. Being the genius I am, hands in the air, a cappella. You can drive all night, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like those days, I think they're really valuable to us now, because I think like the fact that we put so much effort in really helped us like improve our skills of playing guitar. Because when we started off, we just like we were like definitely towards the like beginning end of playing guitar. But I think like just all those hours we put in, especially with singing as well, but then as well like the earlier gigs that we did, because like I think we knew when we were doing them they were pretty embarrassing, but now like comparing them to the shows we're doing, having just done like Academy 3, it's so satisfying to see the contrast and then to now.
Yeah, sure. So kind of like then at what point, did you have like is there like a light bulb moment when you were like, well, hang on a minute, we could make a go of what we've done so far. And obviously at this point, as you've just quite, said, you've obviously clearly a two-piece at that point. At what point did you decide that we needed to expand out and become a band?
Cole, do you want to tell the Stephen story, or do I tell the Stephen story?
Yeah, so as like an acoustic duo, we were obviously like going around trying to find anything that we could. Came across a guy that wanted to manage us, so that's sort of went on for a bit. But I remember he gave us one piece of advice that was really useful. That was basically, covers aren't going to get you anywhere. You've got to be writing your own music, otherwise, it's not going to go very far. So then obviously we started writing our own songs, and then we thought, you know what, I actually like think these are all right, like I'd put these on, I'd listen to them, and then we were thinking, well, these songs probably aren't gonna work with just us two. We probably got to like expand, get like a full band in. So then that was probably about January time, and then that's when the full band started practicing.
There is actually a unreleased, unheard acoustic demo from when it was just me and Cole of a song we wrote called City, which was, for all intents and purposes, a Half the Lord Away ripoff. So for real ones, message us. Maybe you'll get it.
There you go. I'll be doing that straight after, just in case you want to send it across as well. But kind of like then, obviously, Adam and Ethan, obviously not with us unfortunately this evening. But kind of like then, how did they get to join the band? Did they have to do any sort of like rehearsal? Did you already know them, or was there some kind of like did you do like a weird initiation with them or anything like that at all?
Yeah, so I'd already been in a band with Adam, so I wouldn't really call it a proper band. It was just kind of a few of us that sort of maybe did a few covers after school, just a bit of fun, really. And I knew Adam could play bass from that, so just like, why don't we get this guy in? And then there was a drummer as well 2 years below us. And as a previous drummer myself, I knew like he was pretty serious about it. He was a good drummer, so I was like, right, let's see if we can ask him. So yeah, I guess we kind of already knew who we were looking at before we started. Thankfully they were willing to join with us. I hope they don't regret it.
Well, I think it's fair to say after the reaction to the debut single Imperial Minds that they definitely don't regret it, and nor do you guys either. Obviously, as I say, it's been out for a couple of days. It is there's a spine tingling debut. So can you just sort of tell us about the recording process and the writing process as well? And is there kind of like any message that you're trying to get across in like from the lyrical perspective of the song?
Yeah, mate. Lyrics are huge to us. I don't know if you've noticed, but in modern music, specifically in indie music, you find a lot of poor lyrical content. It's a lot of the same sort of derivative. Go to the pub, drink cider, go to the club, meet a fit girl.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah.
And not that can't be done. It's been done brilliantly and made countless times. You know, whatever people say, That's Why I'm Not by the Arctic Monkeys. It's fantastic. But it seems to be overdone these days, and we really want to bring some sort of meaning back into music. You know, back in the day, you had Noel Gallagher, you had Ian Curtis, you had Morrissey. And it feels like we don't really have any modern great songwriters. Not that I'm calling myself a great songwriter.
Not yet.
Morrissey who? No. But yeah, we really want to bring some meaning into it. And I suppose the songs, it's kind of about how people sort of do what they're told and say what, and they sort of don't let themselves think for themselves. You know, a lyric that sticks out to me is words like music to broken ears. You speak, but people don't listen. You know, people, they don't hear what they don't take things in. They don't think for themselves. They think what they're told to think. They think what the government tells them. They think what the media tells them, but they don't think how they're supposed to think. And I think that's something that's really prevalent in society. Not to sound like some fearmonger, but yeah, I mean, and it really means a lot to me, that song. It was the first song I wrote, and I wrote that and thought, that's a really good song.
Yeah,
You
sure.
know, I've written songs previously, and they'd all been all right, but Imperial Mind's old. Imperial Mind's older than Adam and Ethan had been in the band. It's the first song we ever showed them. It's not like we made this in July and recorded it in August. We'd had that for a long time, and it came to August, and we thought, well, it's time to record the debut single. What's the best song? And Cole and I have known since we wrote it that it's our best song, and I think we're yet to top it. Aside from this next thing that we've got coming out in February. But yeah, it really means a lot to the both of us. It sort of bridges that gap between us being Cole and Elliot playing pubs and Cole and Elliot playing Manchester Academy 3. It's sort of that bridge, and it really is, very sentimental to us. The recording process. So we messaged a good friend of the band called Harrison. He's in the Coltons.
Right.
And
okay.
we went, you got any producers to recommend? And he went, yeah, we know the best one, Luke. And we sent us Luke's info. We messaged Luke and went, "Hey mate, how much for to record a track?" He sent us his fee, and we were like, "Well, that's incredibly reasonable." And we went down and we recorded it, and it was absolutely fantastic. We got it all done within about 4 hours. We were there. We were meant to be there for 2 days. I think Cole did his vocals in a take. Ethan did his drums.
It's mainly the drumming, Luke said, because Luke said that the drum's usually like the longest part, and our drummer just came in and was like, "Oh, Cole, how long do you think this is like going to take for me to record?" And I was like, "Well, Luke was saying like a few hours, so just like prepare yourself for it." And then he was done with it like 2 takes.
Wow.
So,
yeah. Meanwhile,
we just really wanted to keep it raw. Like it was something that you could hear when you come and see us live. I think we've achieved that. So, yeah.
We'd recorded a song previously called "Say More, Say Less" with a producer that we won't name, and just due to privacy reasons, and because we didn't release the song, and it just came out completely how we didn't want it to come out. Sadly, all credit to the guy producer. He's a fantastic producer. The songs do very well, but the song wasn't quite us.
Right.
It's a little bit poppy, a little bit this, a little bit that. We think Imperial Mind. If you come and see us live, you'll hear Imperial Mind as it is on Spotify.
Right. Okay. So that's quite important to you then to get that. I guess to sort of like capture the actual live sound of the band rather than it just being, I guess kind of like another recording in a way type of thing, if that makes some sort of sense. So it doesn't just sound like another band.
We don't
It
want to cheat
actually
the fans.
sounds like you.
Well, we don't want to cheat the fans. I mean, I'm sure you've been going gigs for years. I'm sure you could tell there's nothing worse than hearing a band hearing a band single and then going and seeing them live and they just sound absolutely nothing like how they sound recorded. I mean, what a waste of money. Like, you get there and you're like, is this the same band? They're having a laugh.
Yeah.
But we recorded Say More, Say Less, and it sounded great. It sounded really cool. But it just didn't sound like us. It didn't sound like us. And we thought, when we did Imperial Mind, we said to Luke, we want to keep it raw. We want to keep it Crook on the wall. And we went there and everything was as we'd written it all those months ago, on a £25 guitar in some drama room at, an all-boys Catholic grammar school. We went there, we recorded it as it was intended to be recorded. And if you come and see us live now, that's exactly how you'll hear it.
Brilliant, great stuff. Yeah, and it's really good actually to hear Luke. I know I've had him on the podcast before with his band Shade. So yeah, it's good to see as well that he's producing. He's just as good as the music that he's doing as well is for other bands as well. So kind of like then, what is your most controversial music opinion?
Blur are the worst band ever.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure they're the worst, but I wouldn't say they're the best either.
I think Country House and Park Life are the two worst songs ever. 1 and 2 at the bottom, followed by Roll With It by Oasis.
Yeah, that is pretty pony. That Roll With It, I have to agree with you there. But yeah, I'll give you Country House as well. That's pretty pony.
Cole Johnson, take it away.
I think I'd maybe say Stone Roses is a bit overrated. I've never really quite got them yet. But
oh wow! Oh.
That's probably just my music.
Elliot's just disappointed. I was watching on it. I haven't quite seen it yet. That Elliot's just looked away in disgust and in despair. I can't believe that. I think you're the only person that I've ever met that has ever said that, Cole.
I know. To be fair, we met Manny when we played at Northfest as well, and like Elliot and Adam were just like, "Oh my gosh, Manny's here!" I was like, "Who's this? Who's this guy?"
Yeah, we were at North. We played a gig called a place called Northfest, and Manny from the Stone Roses turned up, and me and Adam were going mental. I was with a girl at the time, and I was talking to her. I saw Manny. I was like, "Right, you wait there, Manny's here." And then I was going up to Cole. That's the real Manny. That's Fool's Gold Manny. And Cole was like, "What, Manny? Who's Manny?" And it was at that point where I considered kicking him out of the band. But all of us can make mistakes, Cole. There's always time for education.
Yeah, hopefully.
Definitely. Okay, so I'm just gonna move away momentarily from music. We understand that you guys are both Manchester United fans. So first of all, is that kind of like a family thing? Was you born into it, or was that kind of like your personal choice?
My dad was a United fan. My granddad was a United fan. My great granddad was a United fan, and my son will be a United fan. Everyone in my family will be a United fan. If my son was a City fan, he wouldn't be my son anymore.
Disowned him. Get him out.
It's a weird one for me. So yeah, so my granddad was an Everton fan, and my dad grew up on the Wirral with my granddad, but he was a Liverpool fan actually when he was younger. So there's a bit of contrast in that house. Then Manchester United started winning, so my dad decided to switch allegiances, which is pretty poor for a Scouser. So yeah, that's just what I've grown up with, I guess. Kind of come from him. So yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's as you say, that's quite controversial for a Scouser moving over to support Manchester United. But kind of like, what are your thoughts then so far on the season? Because obviously, I think a lot of people, obviously, with you winning the League Cup last year and obviously getting back into the Champions League, thought maybe this was going to be the season of a bit more consistency and maybe pushing on a little bit further up the league. But I think it's fair to say it's been a fairly inconsistent start.
Man United's biggest mistake, and I'll say this until I can't speak anymore, is that we didn't empty the stadium when the Glazers announced they were selling the club.
Mm-hmm.
The fans had the opportunity to empty the stadium and force a sale to Qatar. Instead, Qatar have pulled out, and we're going to be treated to 10 more years of Glazer and Sir Jim, quite literally a rat cliff. You know, I'm absolutely fuming. Man United died the day that Qatar pulled out, and sadly, I can't stop supporting United because, well, if you cut me open, I literally would bleed red.
Yeah,
quite literally. But no, it's that I'm absolutely devastated for United. That news came out the same day Imperial Mind came out, and I was conflicted emotions. On one hand, delighted because Imperial Mind's doing so well. On the other hand, I've got no words.
I think in terms of the football, though, I think there's been like quite a few injuries at the club. So, I mean, as much as injuries are a problem, there's not really like the full backing behind it. Like, there's not really a full squad depth. So, I'm hopeful that when players come back, it'll start to go back up again. Because we've got to back the manager here, because we can't just get rid of another one. You're going on a 2-year cycle. You know, it's still relatively early in the season. Good to get the win with Brentford as well. But, you know, I think when some players start coming back, hopefully results will pick up. But just got to see.
Yeah, definitely. You don't want to become like what Chelsea are at the minute, just sacking their managers every 10, 15 games. It seems to be the way with them at the moment. But let's go back then to talk a bit more music. So obviously here at This Is The Music, we like to shine a light on upcoming bands like Crook on the Walls that are trying to make their way on the new music scene. So kind of like over the last sort of 12 months or so, what sort of bands or artists that are on that new music scene have you guys been listening to?
Shade.
Yeah.
Massively. The Coltons, 100%.
I think
Kestrel,
me,
Kestrel Palace.
Palace is one. The Rolling People as well.
Yeah.
I think their last two songs have been like a pretty decent improvement from the first two. I think they've been pretty cool to listen to. I guess another one's like Alex Spencer, because he's one that's around our age as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty cool to see like someone else our age, giving it a go.
Yeah, sure.
It's probably the main ones.
Yeah, definitely some great, fantastic names in there. And as you say, it's good to see, someone like Alex as well, doing smashing it as well. So what we're going to do, I'm going to throw some quick fire questions at you now. Hopefully, find out a little bit more about the band dynamic and as you two as individuals. So the first question is, what is the one item that you couldn't live without?
Maybe this.
Nice, yeah. I thought for a minute you was going to show me the £25 guitar from school.
Keeping that well away.
I've got one of those in my room that they let me take, actually. I'd say my Revolver Beatles vinyl.
Nice, great, lovely choices. So would you rather have bird beaks for eyes or tongues for fingers?
Tongues for fingers, because that'd be banter.
Yeah, I've probably got to agree with Elliot there. I can't see the other one working out too well.
Tongues for fingers.
If you could have any band or artist watch you from the crowd at a forthcoming gig, who would you choose?
Can they be dead or alive?
Yeah, go on then. Yeah, Dead or Alive.
It's got to be the original Beatles lineup then. John Lennon, George Harrison, Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr,
Yeah,
I think.
I'd agree. So maybe like Noel Gallagher close second, but yeah, Beatles first probably.
Yeah, Noel Gallagher, absolute hero. But it's number one in every question regarding music ever will always be the Beatles for me and Cole.
Okie dokie, fair enough. So playing live or being in the studio?
Ooh, that's hard.
Be playing live, definitely. Yeah, the energy, the crowd was back. Yeah, you can't get out in the studio, so I've got to say playing live.
I think I love them both, but I'll agree with Cole. I'll say playing live. But studio days, unmatched.
Yeah,
Okay.
studio. Yeah, it's good day when it's in the studio.
Absolute scenes when you go and buy £15 worth of cookies from Poundland. Come on.
Yeah, that's basically what we'll do. Keep us going.
No nutrition.
Which band member is most likely to run off and join a religious cult?
Cole.
That was very quick and Cole. I can see you putting your hand up there straight
Yeah,
away. Is there any particular reason why?
I'm a Christian anyways. So I guess I'm already halfway there.
Which band member is always late, be it for sound checks, rehearsals, band socials?
Adam. Adam.
Okay, is there a particular reason why it's always him? Just terrible at timekeeping.
We'll tell you when it's not rolling.
Okay, I look forward to hearing that one.
I think we're all pretty bad with it.
Hey.
I think overall, yeah, I'd say overall we are.
So what other plans then have you got in store for kind of like the rest of this year? Also, Elliot, you did sort of mention that there was something big happening in February next year as well. So what are the plans for the rest of the year?
Well, can we say it, Cole? Can we say what's going on in December?
I think we can say there's going to be probably one more gig until the end of the year.
It's a very, very big gig, very big promoter. That's all we'll say.
We're really looking forward to announcing that. It should be a really good night. Really
brilliant. It'll be the best gig yet. 100%.
Yeah.
February, we've got we plan to line up our second single. The response from Imperial Mind's been like, well, it's been more than anything we ever expected. You know, it's looking like it's on Radio X this tonight.
Yes.
Which is, you know, it's mind-boggling because I remember sitting in the car listening to that with my dad when I was a kid. XFM, then Radio X.
Yeah.
And it looks like we're getting a few more major radio plays, and after 2 days, the song's on 1,200 streams. You know, we were told to expect 100 after 2 days.
Wow.
So everything's gone fantastic. The support for the song's been outstanding, and thankfully everyone seems to like it who's listened to it so far. No scathing reviews yet.
Well, I can definitely concur that it is a fantastic song, and I'm absolutely really enjoying it every time I do listen to it. But look, Elliot and Cole, that is the end of the podcast. Thank you very much for coming on. I hope that you've enjoyed it. I've certainly enjoyed it, getting to know you both a little bit better and finding out a little bit more about how Crook on the Wall, started. But before I let you go, can you just let the listeners know the social media platforms that they can find you on?
Yeah, so on Instagram, we're Crook on the Wall, no spaces. On Twitter, we're Crook on the Wall, no spaces. And on TikTok, we're Crook on the Wall, no spaces, and an underscore. Come on.
Cheeky little underscore there at the end. Great stuff. And we're going to put those links in the episode bio and along with the link as well to Imperial Mind, which is one of the best singles that you will hear this year. Crook on the Wall, thanks very much for coming on. This is the Music Meets podcast. You're definitely going to be a band that I'm going to be keeping my eye on over the months and years ahead. So I wish you continued success with the single, and look forward to catching up with you both very, very soon.
No worries, mate.
Cheers.
Thanks so much. Take care, mate. Bye-bye.
And all that leaves me to say is to thank everyone for tuning in to the latest This Is The Music Meets podcast. If you're loving the podcast, please subscribe and give us a 5-star rating and written review, as it really does help the bands and artists we interview to be discovered. Thanks for listening, and I will see you somewhere down the road.